Is that his name?
Yeah. You may recognize it from his famous father. Yeah, that's Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, son of Arnold and Maria Shriver. He's the bulletproof Kennedy that everybody makes the jokes about.
I didn't know he existed, but now that you say it, you couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. You know,
especially like if you actually see him, like when he smiles, you can see like the same like I'm guessing he had braces as a kid because you can see that he probably was developing like the same gap tooth deal that his father had growing up.
I got that right now. Yeah.
At least he didn't end up with the fucking giant underbite.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. You are watching Midweek Geeks. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have a fun show scheduled for you as always. And with us, Jar Jar.
Hey, it's the midweek, and here are the geeks. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm happy to be here. And we're going to spin it over to Carrie.
Hey, everybody.
I did it right.
Happy Wednesday. You did, even though nobody can see. But yes, you did it right. Hey, everybody. I'm here. The squirrel's here. We're good. Let's go on to Brandon. He's better.
Brandon, you're here.
I will be this live stream's reckoning. It's my Bane cup. That's the only reason it's next to me. It's gigantic, and it allows me to do this. You say the fucking squirrel? Because, like, straight up, the only thing that popped into my head was, this squirrel is on fire. But regardless of, oh yeah, guys, I drank a coffee an hour ago, so I'm ready to go.
Out of a can.
I have to say
the coffee was this big, but still.
Ooh, I can go for coffee.
We record. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why wouldn't you go for a coffee?
We recorded One Bad Day Bane this week, and I have to tell you, it was hilarious recording with you with the cup.
Yeah, I one bad day Bane, and I grabbed this every second I had the chance to use it. This is great. I have broken the bat, but breaking the bat has also broken me.
Hey, Tom Dog, how's it going?
Tom, thank you for the wonderful shout outs on your show the other day. That was fantastic. Always. Well, yes. I watched the other day, so I had to make sure to, say we love you, Tom.
Aw.
Tom is family.
So I know it's been a minute since we did a show, had conventions galore and people getting sick, and we're here now.
We're back.
I always wear my mask.
So what's everybody been up to? I know we had some shows that came on, and like, okay, elephant in the room, Ahsoka.
Well, hold on, wait a minute, man. What's everybody been up to? And then you're like, never mind that fucking palaver. All right, I don't even care. I was saying that to be nice. What do you think about this? No, fuck you. I'm gonna answer your questions in order. I don't give a flying fuck if this is your show or not. All right. How have I been doing? Fine, thank you. All right, now you can. No, honestly, when Leo, you, Justin, and I have been doing the Dork Night and Comics Paradox podcasts, and we've been doing really well over there. Good Pods is an app that's stepped in and is taking on a lot of what was made a vacuum by the removal of Stitcher from the ether, and so far for Comics Paradox, at least, I don't have the analytics for for the Dork Night, but Comics Paradox has consistently been in high ranking for weekly and monthly and entertainment news, which and comedy, which tickles me because it's not billed as a comedy show, but it is. I mean, we do have a lot of fun. But yeah, we've hit like number 10 in the monthly entertainment news and what have you. Why is there a thumbs up bubble? What the fuck was that, Leo? Okay, you guys saw that too, right? Like
no.
What the fuck was in that earlier?
There's fireworks going on. Holy shit.
There's like a fucking Katy Perry music video up in this bitch.
Don't forget I'm epileptic, Leo.
Oh, sorry.
All right, enough of that.
Happy New Year.
So we've been having a lot of fun with actually, having people tune in and listen and kick out what we're doing. And I guess like sort of semi mini announcement, like Leo, Justin, and I are working on. We always record video when we do those podcasts because they're about a visual medium. We're talking about comic books. And we are working on getting every episode's video up and running very, very soon. Combination of website location and a new YouTube channel. So, nice. Keep your eyes peeled. Be there or be a cunt.
Whoa. Not where I thought that square was going.
That's the point, baby. So yeah, that to answer your question, that's how I've been doing, Leo. And also, I mentioned just before the show, I stopped nicotine vaping, so I'm using this fume, and I gotta say, it's effective, man. I use the crisp mint and hitting the throat. I'm like, oh, all right, this is sort of kind of like what I'm used to without, the fucking heart palpitations and flop sweat. So yeah, let's keep doing that. I'm about a week and a half away from the last time I used nicotine. So if my chubby Irish ass can do it, at least 3 more of you out there can do it. I can't speak for everyone.
Yeah. I myself, I got a year older.
In just a week, which is amazing.
Just a week. God damn it. Saturday. I forget when it was.
I've seen Jeremy age a fucking year inside of 3 months. Every single time he's like, it's fucking harvest, man.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, you guys remember when Jeremy was young and spry at the beginning of the season? And now he's like fucking old man River. Guys, I came through the show. My hands hurt. Like, yeah, they should.
They are sore. Yeah. They are sore.
Yeah.
The back and the hands.
I'm just one man. I can only hunch over with a pair of scissors for so long.
Need to get short people to work for you. It's not as hard reaching up as it is.
Please show me that Craigslist posting. Fucking midgets wanted. Harvest season.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble with that one.
Little ones.
I'm sorry, dwarves wanted.
I'm just looking for very tiny people.
That was mean.
People.
I shouldn't have
Leprechauns.
said
No,
yeah,
go magical.
All manner of fictional characters wanted. Superman, please apply now. If I could just get the Flash in here, we'd have it all done so fast.
I love my scissors though. They're beautiful titanium steel. Oh, just fantastic. They glow.
I didn't think you were using like a kindergartner's plastic safety scissors, although that would be hilarious to watch.
That would. Oh my god.
These fucking scissors suck. Yeah, because they're not really scissors.
Left-handed ones too. There you go.
Oh. How do you think left-handed people feel with the regular scissors? How fucked up is it that I just called right-handed scissors regular scissors? Oh, look at that. I've managed to offend dwarves and left-handed people inside of 1 minute.
That's got to be a record.
Somebody start putting hash marks on something. We can fucking keep a running tally for the episode. Brendan hasn't been on a live stream in like 2.5 months. Let's see him make up for lost time. All right. Hey. What weirdly fringe marginalized group can we go after now? Let me tell you what I can't stand. Fucking people with heterochromia. Pick an eye color already.
Fuck the colorblind.
God, I love you.
Somebody accused me of being colorblind the other day, and it made me so mad I was almost seeing green.
I think you broke Carrie.
You did.
I'm back, everybody. I feel like Beetlejuice. Not the part where he's like, it's showtime, but you know, where I'm about to try to force an underage girl to marry me. No, wait, not that. Everybody fucking skips that part in Beetlejuice, right? Like, oh yeah, fucking so funny. It's like, it'd be bad enough if he were 30. You realize he's like 10,000, right? That's worse. You understand how that's worse, right?
You could have totally went a totally different way with that.
I could have gone any number of ways I wanted, Leo. That's the path I chose. This is not a Robert Frost poem, okay? That'd be the road less traveled by, kids. Read a book that doesn't, have pictures or comic book characters in it. That's just for funsie out there. Just hold on to that. Suck on it. See how it makes you feel.
I was gonna say, you mentioned Beetlejuice could have been just a political person given a hand job in a theater.
Whoa.
That's not even the worst thing that could be used in comparison, Leo. How about a political person who's currently under potential I don't want to say litigation, charges for underage solicitation and sex trafficking for bringing young people over state lines.
That happened during Beetlejuice?
Nope, that was on CNN.
No, that happened. That happened in America, my friend.
Okay. No, I was making the connection because it happened during the Beetlejuice play. That was the connection.
Yeah, and I was making the connection because Beetlejuice, the thing I said, is about underage girls being approached, and then I used a real world example of a politician having been accused and potentially charged with sex with underage girls. There's other television stations out there besides Disney Plus and
I watch CBS News myself.
And Paramount, just saying. Yeah, news is a good thing. I mean, veritable sources of news, that is to say. I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum, but, Newsmax and shit like that can get fucked with a rusty chainsaw.
We have something, speaking of child sex traffic, let's
not continue that thread.
It's not great.
I saw a TikTok over the weekend where a kid was wearing a predator costume and called himself the child predator.
No, I saw a guy dressed as the predator, and he was like, "Hey, I'm the Popa." Whoa!
We just had somebody here in Lincoln though that he was like a 26-year-old. And he faked his papers and went back to high school as a 17-year-old posing with a different name. And so he's 26. He got into 2 different high schools, spent like 56 days total. And
I've seen that movie. It starred John Cryer and was called Hiding Out.
Well, but
I was going to say 21 Jump Street.
No, but he ended up dating a couple of these girls, and now he's got all these charges against him because they finally figured out. They just released the other day. So he's 26, posing as 17, and the person who showed up as his mother to sign all of the paperwork was 22.
What?
Wow.
Well, clearly the person who's posing as his mother has been ridden hard and put away wet one too many times.
It showed the papers, but it was just one of those things where we're like, how did you go into an office and you appear to be, and it's all terrible, and they're both getting charged with all sorts of stuff. But
Carrie,
initially his attempt to get through this.
Let me tell you something. All right. I lost my hair when I was 16 and a half. And for the rest of my time when I was in high school, people, honest to God, thought I was at least 10 years older than I really was. Not that hard for a young person to appear older than they are.
Yeah.
So I totally, and especially for a woman, like, women have to learn how to seem more mature than men. I'm not saying they do mature. I'm just saying they seem more mature than guys. It's a lot easier to buy a 22-year-old as a, mother, fully grown individual with somebody who they're raising than, a youngish looking fellow, because that's just the way society sucks. Imagine Michael J. Fox walking up to you in 1984, like, hey, I'm actually 30. You're like, all right, kid, I'm still going to need to see your fucking ID before you buy this Miller Lite. I'm just saying.
I thought he wanted a tab.
He wanted a keg of beer.
A keg of beer.
Yeah. No, but
a keg.
The weirdest thing about it, in my opinion, was that the way he tried to justify his actions was by stating that he did it to point out flaws in the school system on how easy it was for him to get away with posing as somebody else. And
great investigative journalism. I really like the part where you used your dick to get to the bottom of the story. So anyway, Ashoka, man, that show, I tell you. No segue to that one. We're just gonna fucking
right into it.
We're gonna fucking warp speed into it.
So I assume we've all watched the whole series at this point.
Oh yes, and boy,
yeah,
was that ever a series?
I enjoyed it until the final episode, where I'm just like, that's the end. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I was shocked
that
was the end. It's like, what, how, why are you ending there? The whole story was just to bring him back. Like,
yeah, I don't understand. And my whole thing, I'm just like, Ezra's back, but everybody else is now lost. Like, I'm like, you're pretty much back 2 steps before that you started.
Yes, but now we get to explain why Ahsoka never ever shows up in anything else.
That's
she's
true.
She's stuck on a planet and they can't get back because the Star Whales. The Star Whales can't swallow their ship temporarily to zip zap zoom them. That's too bad. But hey, Thrawn's here, kids. Which every single time I see fucking Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn, I'm just like, oh, it's really nice to see Robert Patrick getting work still. Because, dude, he looks like Robert Patrick.
He really does.
Flat out. Like the fucking the elfish ears and shit. The same goddamn hairstyle that Robert Patrick's had since fucking T2. I'm like, all right. Why didn't you just get Robert Patrick? What, did you just need someone that had like a vague accent? Whatever. Quality. I will say, after having I am not that I like well, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking cap it. I used to like Star Wars, all right? I used to really like Star Wars, and not like to the point where I was obsessing over minutia. I watched the movies. That was enough for me because it's a fucking film series. And quite frankly, I've never had any real interest in checking out like 128 fucking hours of several different animated series, especially when Ahsoka was coming out, in order for me to get what Ahsoka was about. That's fucking stupid. That is one of the dumbest goddamn things I've ever seen or heard of in my entire life. I watched like 2 15-minute long videos on YouTube to find out what I needed to know going into Ahsoka. That's the amount of time I was willing to spend. Less than an episode's length of Ahsoka to find out what I needed to know for Ahsoka. And quite frankly, what I saw on that Disney Plus show amounted to, in my eyes, several hours of Dave Filoni masturbating on film.
Yeah,
that was Dave Filoni saying like, "Oh, look at this story that I've incorporated from novels into my cartoons that I've done. I'm bringing them into live action now. Everybody bask in me." Yeah, don't care. Do not care at all. I mean, like right off the bat too, there was just like a few things that I had issues with, like everything that I saw leading into Ahsoka, like from the cartoons where Ezra fucking with the Star Whales and fucking Thrawn and all them, and then he's lost. Okay, not a problem. Sabine's obviously like, no, like I like / love him. He's my friend, and I want to get him back. Okay, great, fanrific. I've seen Ezra when he fucking left though. He was a fucking young guy, you know, a kid even. You know, fucking clean shaven, fresh faced, zip, gone. Why is the last recording that she keeps playing over and over from Ezra show him in a full fucking beard?
Continuity.
There's just no continuity there whatsoever. It's like, oh shit, we had him grow the beard for the part, but we forgot to tell him that there was going to be this part that, you know, like, You guys will throw fucking Mark Hamill's face on a fucking stunt double for Mandalorian, but you can't manage to like make this dude look clean shaven in a fucking hologram this big on a fucking screen. And also Sabine, she sucks. She sucks out loud. It's like not even like I kind of understood where she was coming from. Nope, she sucked. Like that's great that you want to get that person back, but like
you gave up everything.
Everything. And but like risked everything for everyone else.
Yeah.
Like she is incredibly selfish. The fact that she like stole that shit when fucking Ahsoka like brought her in on it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Fuck training her. She's a piece of shit. After that, I wouldn't have been like, oh, she deserves to be given a chance. Nope. That was her chance. Blew it.
An impossible decision.
Yeah, she'd have been left in the fucking hospital, as far as I was concerned. Be like, oh yeah, well, you heal up and live your life. Also, once you're out of the hospital, go fuck yourself. Deuces, and that would be that. Like, okay, now let's get ready for a rock and space adventure with a David Tennant voiced robot and the always effervescent and delightful Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. How do you take someone as likable and talented as Rosario Dawson and turn her into the blandest fucking spice on the spice rack in this goddamn show? If Ahsoka was a fucking spice, she'd be flour. It fucking sucks, dude.
Flour. Any commentary there, Leo?
Well, yeah, I didn't enjoy it either. It's I mean, it's Star Wars, but it's just like some of the things were too forced, like the robot.
That's the Force.
Yeah, I know. The robot starting his story a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That I know, but that's still gonna bug the hell out of me.
That's a nitpick.
It's
Leo.
a nitpick, but
that's not the issues we're talking about, Leo. We're talking about the show and its approach, not the fairy tale style opening, which makes sense when you look at the fact that George Lucas was essentially telling a sci-fi adventure fairy tale. That's why each episode began with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's literally that galaxy's version of Once Upon a Time in a Faraway Land. So, like, I'm not going to agree with you on that. Like,
Okay.
that's a weird...
No, that's fine. It was just odd to hear
you're
it.
like, oh, talk about forced nostalgia. I'm like, no, forced nostalgia is taking Ahsoka from cartoons and forcing people to watch every episode to understand what's happening in a fucking 6-hour live-action miniseries. That's weaponized nostalgia.
Oh, when they mentioned Leia, that was pretty weaponized nostalgia.
Oh,
yeah.
This came directly from General Leia. Oh, you gonna show her? Oh, no, she's
No.
the woman that plays her is she's dead. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? No, nothing. Never mind. But anyway, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, everybody. You know.
I'm so glad I quit watching after Clone Wars. And I didn't even
And that's the
watch
funny
all
thing
of
too.
that.
Did you notice that if they had not put Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the giant fucking weird long-tailed butt head with green makeup, that she and the girl who played Sabine would look like fucking sisters?
Mm.
It was uncanny. I'm like, especially with the purple hair, I'm like, this young woman looks like she's going out for the reboot of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Ladies and gentlemen, Ramona Flowers 2. Just saying. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Leo.
No.
Continue.
And the other thing that bugged me was, when they do find Ezra, like they have to throw in these like little people that are going to help them. Like,
I always love that Star Wars does that somewhere. They throw in the little cutesy people that everybody starts to hate. I'm just like,
I actually didn't mind the Shell Rock dudes. They didn't bother me at all.
No, what I'm saying is it was too. That's what they always go with. I mean,
it's Filoni's Ewoks.
Yeah, exactly.
See, it's like poetry. That's a quote from George Lucas. It's a refrain. Everything is. It's like a circle. It's like a circle. It all comes back around. Like that's part of the point of what George Lucas was trying to do from the start. So if there's certain things that seem like repetitive, I don't mind that. It's the way that the whole film series, which I cannot stress enough again, is the basis for everything. The movies, they all are echoes of the same thing occurring. So if it seems like there's reverberations of certain things throughout the timeline, that makes sense to me. I can dig on that. It's just that they haven't addressed it, and I feel like the world between worlds and stuff like that was an opportunity to do so, and then they didn't. So
yeah, they didn't really do very good explaining of anything in it. You
No,
get to the end.
Yeah, but Jeremy, you see, if you had watched if you had watched all of the Clone Wars and Rebels and at least half of the Bad Batch, then you would be on the up and up, and you'd get it. But because you haven't, you're just one of the people that doesn't.
I went and checked the internet the next day and looked up the little stuff that I didn't understand, and was just like, oh, good, that's great.
And apparently they changed the Force again. Like everybody has the Force. You just need to train in it.
Did they say that again?
I don't recall that.
I thought they were still going with midichlorians. I don't know, because didn't they make mention of midichlorians?
They definitely mentioned midichlorians. I don't recall the. That sounds more like a Rian Johnson thing from The Last Jedi.
Mm.
Where he was gearing up to do his spin-off Broom Boy.
It was something
next summer, get ready to be swept off your feet.
I would have to watch it again, but I could have sworn it was something with Sabine doesn't really have the Force, but if she trains enough. At least that's one of the
I thought she had just cut herself off from the force.
She just stopped using it and stopped training. That was my takeaway.
Teaches me to listen to one of those explainer videos on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, once again, verifiable sources, like trusted sources. I mean, I'd be curious to know what video you watched, who produced it, like who created it.
Who's on Reddit, damn it?
Tell me outside of the show, because I don't want to give them any fucking free advertising here, because it sounds like they steered you in the wrong direction, and you're Mr. fucking Star Wars himself. Like, oh, I love Star Wars. Yeah, we know, Leo. We know. How many fucking Grogu things you got now? All of them. Yeah, that sounds right. That tracks.
Somebody just gave me another one too.
Yeah, of course they did.
I just watched a video the other day where some guy went out and bought like every Jar Jar Binks product he could find, like Jar Jar Binks pillows, Jar Jar Binks backpacks, Jar Jar Binks cups, anything he could find that had Jar Jar Binks on it. He went out. Even a Pez dispenser that like was electronic, it like shot it down. It
was this an autobiography?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, right.
I ain't got that kind of cash. Sit there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all these Jar Jar Binks toys.
But
if you want to get them for a birthday present, I like presents.
Too bad I didn't know you when I got rid of some of my Star Wars stuff. I had the Taco Bell cup with Jar Jar. There you go.
I didn't have to know you.
Jeremy's like, I know. I'm the one that was jumping through your dumpster after you tossed it.
Okay, so it seems like we didn't really care for Ahsoka. Anybody
well, at least
watching?
I didn't. I can speak for me. I don't want to say what everybody here thinks. Just from Brandon's perspective, that show defied physics.
I just felt like
sucked and blew at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
I waited for a good ending and got, oh, wait, you have to watch more. I'm just
but
like,
wait, there's more.
But why do I want to watch more? You didn't give me a reason to want to watch more.
Now, when you're watching this Star Wars story, you can walk away, set it, and forget it. But wait, there's more.
Anybody see
Beale's Star Wars, kids?
Anybody see the first episode of Loki?
Yes.
Yes, I did. The second episode is on right now.
Oh, really?
Is it? Oh, yeah, 9:00. Yeah.
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. That's cute.
Right now.
It's cute that that's Wednesdays, because that's Odin's day.
Odin's day.
Yeah, Wednesday is named for the god Odin, or Woden. And it was Woden's Day, and that's why it became Wednesday.
The more you know, kids.
That's right. Not only do you get entertainment, you also get education. It's edutainment.
I hope I didn't lose anything important while learning that.
Not 22, not 32 minutes after I said the word cunt. This is great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool so far. I'm enjoying it. It's excited to see where it goes. Maybe it broke the Marvel. Well, I'm not going to say Marvel curse, but Marvel's been in a lull lately.
They're not in a lull. They've gotten lazy.
Yeah,
there's a difference. I'm not going to say like, everyone's like, oh, this burnout. It's like, we're not burnt out. We're fucking sick and tired of the creative laziness, not of the people involved, but the fact that it's clearly been mandated that certain things need to happen in a certain way. The problem therein, though, is that everything becomes a formulaic paint by numbers project.
Yep.
Everything
just to get to the point. How does
blends into everything. And how does it connect to this? It's like, hey, you know what? What's fun? A story standing on its own two fucking legs. How about that? How does that grab you? I personally the point that it's the point that Disney and everyone else, especially business wise in the film industry, seems to have missed is not that, oh, we need to make sure that everything connects and leads up to this. Everything, for the most part, like 4/5 of everything that happened in the Infinity Saga leading up to Endgame, it was able to stand on its own, but still lead to something. So if you watched one or two, like if you just like the Captain America movies, you're okay with watching Captain America 1, 2, and 3. You know,
some of the best Marvel movies right there, anyways.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that's the way it should be. You know, and to get it to a point though where past that you had to see this movie to see that movie, and then this show past that, and then this show, then see that movie and that movie, and then this show.
I feel bad for kids coming up now that are like, I want to watch the Marvel movies, and I'm like, hold on, you got to watch the 37 ones before it.
Well, yeah, it's going to get to a point where you're going to have people reacting to that the same way I just fucking did to Rebels and the Clone Wars and all that. Like, I got to watch what for how long before I can even check this out? Yeah, how about fuck that shit? And I think that's the thing that Warner Brothers and DC Studios really needs to benchmark. And I think James Gunn and Peter Safran are. You know, like, hey, it's nice if we have some kind of like connective thread, like wink, nod of the cap, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it all has to work together to build towards something. If you introduce the characters individually and put them in their own stories that are good and standalone, you can bring them together as long as it looks like they're existing in the same world into some big thing and not have, 19 other things before it that are quote required viewing to enjoy that one thing. There's a way to do it, and Marvel forgets that that's what they did. Series of movies, and it's just, I don't know, it's frustrating, the whole thing. But Loki so far seems good. I mean, I think it's a weird enough show that it can stand apart. And if there's anything that does seem like it makes sense to check out before we really get into the Kang of it all, it would be Loki.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned personally, the two best Disney Plus series were, in order for me, WandaVision and Loki. Those are the two most substantive series to me. I know a lot of people would argue and say like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but even with that, I feel like that was a story that didn't need that many episodes to tell itself. And once again, that just felt more like a stepping stone. It was like, oh, you got to watch this so you understand why we're going to do that. Like, oh, so that's how we're getting the Power Broker and U.S. Agent. We're getting to the idea of Thunderbolts because of the Contessa and Val and all that. Okay, still feels like this could have been, even if they didn't want to release in theaters, this could have been a Disney Plus original movie. They inundated everybody with content, and I know part of what's to blame is the pandemic and what have you, but even with that being the case, they fucking put the cart before the horse on a lot of that, and that's what people are reacting to. I think if we get down to a back to basics approach and stop looking at it as superhero movies, because that's not a fucking genre. Like I hate that. Like,
it's supposed to be
superhero.
action.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the superhero. The superhero genre. No. These are supposed to be action adventure or sci-fi fantasy or sci-fi action, sci-fi adventure, whatever, comedy, even like sci-fi comedy that happen to have superheroes as their main characters. It should not be the fact that they are superheroes that drives what the movie is. That's insane. Story and character should come first, and then what the character looks like, how they appear, should be secondary, maybe even tertiary. I'm just saying, like, there's I've been saying that for a long time, and I've actually been very heartened by seeing that James Gunn at DC Studios has been saying the same exact thing, which I'm like, I don't know, kids. My finger seems to be on the pulse more than it's not. Just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. And this has just been a clusterfuck, and I'm just hoping that they course correct sooner rather than later with the MCU. I do want to see the Marvels when it comes out.
That looks pretty good.
I did enjoy Miss Marvel. I'm not saying I thought it was like one of the like all-time best series I've ever seen, but it made more sense to me than Moon Knight, and as much as I liked it, She-Hulk. I had no problem with She-Hulk, but ultimately, like, what's the point of that show? Who was it for? Because it seemed to like please everyone and no one at the same exact time. I don't know. I just felt it was okay. Didn't set the world on fire. It had the opportunity. It was trying to be a bit Deadpool-esque and I know that She-Hulk predates Deadpool with doing the fourth wall break. But considering in mainstream media, Deadpool has sort of become like the touchstone for that kind of reference. I love Tatiana Maslany. I've been a big fan of her ever since she was on Orphan Black on BBC America. But she has good comedic timing. I don't think they made good use of it. I don't think there were enough like comic book nerds in that writer's room. I think the best part of the show was when she straight up like left the show and hopped down on Disney Plus and approached Kevin. That felt more in line with what She-Hulk always was back in the 80s, like when John Byrne was doing it in the comic books, than anything else they were doing. And part of it, some people are like, oh, well, that reintroduced Daredevil to the Disney MCU. And like, yeah, okay. Except just like today, they made the announcement like, oh, yeah, it looks like they fired every writer and director for Daredevil Born Again. And they're starting from scratch creatively on what they're going to do for the continuing series. Yep.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was referring to it earlier in conversation with my wife as Daredevil Born Again. Again. There we go. Again? Forever? Forever? What's that?
I just had Dan Chichester on Sunday, and he's doing Daredevil Black Armor. They pulled back because they're doing all these kind of remakes of the older nostalgia series coming out. So they've got him doing that. Maybe they can get him back on the saddle again with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that as a Daredevil nerd, I got to see the red and yellow costume in live action. I thought that was cool because I never thought I'd ever see that. And it certainly lines up with like kind of the Disney MCU type stuff. But that being said, I would really like to see the classic red double D Daredevil symbol suit at some point. I hope they don't just jump to like red and black armor Daredevil.
It's a 4-issue miniseries, I think, is all that one is.
Yeah, well, they're resetting. I think they just started a new series at #1 again over at Marvel anyway, which is like the fucking 17th goddamn Daredevil series they've had in the past 18 fucking years. So, whatever. I used to fucking read Daredevil month to month. I loved it, and then they started doing that shit, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm all set because I don't know where to fucking go anymore. Like that was enough for me. I started, I was a fan of Frank Miller's stuff. I got all the trades and collections and stuff, Man Without Fear, Visionaries, and Born Again, all that. And then there was a resurgence in interest for a lot of people, not necessarily popularity from the start, but interest in the character when they brought him back for the Marvel Knights label, and Kevin Smith was brought on with artwork by Joe Quesada to do Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. And Kevin Smith knocked it out of the park with that story. And he was able to take elements that had been planted by Frank Miller and utilize them. And I thought it was a rather interesting turn of events. If you haven't read it, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's a Spider-Man villain who is working behind the scenes on it, and they get some vital information from Kingpin. And a lot of people, I remember initially were like, that's so fucking weird that he'd use a Spider-Man villain for this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, which Spider-Man villain are you talking about? Because I don't know if you realize this, but so is Kingpin.
Yeah.
People tend to forget that Kingpin showed up in Spider-Man as a villain for him first, and then they shifted him over to Daredevil, and he became Daredevil's arch nemesis. But Kingpin was a fucking Spider-Man mainstay for a while.
Well, also, why would it be weird? They're both in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you fucking met fanboys? I feel like you have. So yeah, but that was excellent, and from that point on, I was all about it. Shortly thereafter, 20th Century Fox was making the Daredevil movie, which, I was like, oh my God, Daredevil movie, this could be great. And then they announced the casting, and I was like, what the? No, you guys didn't fucking listen to me at all. Because my whole thing was when I was reading Kevin Smith's Daredevil, I was like, and not because it was Kevin Smith, but just because of the way that the character was written and how Joe Quesada drew him and what have you. I was like, man, who would be a phenomenal Matt Murdock in this? Matt Damon. I think he'd be fucking awesome as Daredevil. And then they cast Ben Affleck a couple of years later. And I was like, oh, guys, just like so close. Did you look to the left? Like, you look, but then like to the left?
He's usually right there.
Yeah, he's like they're side by side almost all the fucking time.
Well, he already played Loki, so we really can't have him as Daredevil.
Really? He already played Loki back before Loki was ever a live action character in anything, Leo?
Wasn't he Loki in that Kevin Smith movie?
No, you're thinking Dogma.
Are you thinking Dogma?
Am I thinking Dogma?
that was an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Not the. Have you? Hold on, wait! Everyone, shut up. Leo, have you seen the movie Dogma?
It's been a long time.
So hold on. Literally, the whole movie is about, and I can't stress this
I was
enough.
confusing him.
No! Shut up! Shut up! Catholic dogma, in adherence to faith-based laws, right? That's the crux of the entire thing. Two angels, Loki and Bartleby, who were banished to Earth by God for fucking about.
So his name was Loki.
Yeah, an angel named Loki. It had nothing to do with him being the god of mischief. My God, dude. Well, I watched a movie with a guy named Henry in it, so clearly he's Indiana Jones. Yep, that tracks.
Hey, they named a dog Indiana.
Oh.
Called a dog Indiana. You know what's funny? I didn't realize until recently. I just found this out that when George Lucas agreed to let Mel Brooks make a parody of Star Wars with the movie Spaceballs, his one stipulation was that Lone Star, who was clearly a Han Solo pastiche, they couldn't let Lone Star be costumed like Han Solo because he just didn't want to blur the line between the parody and the real thing so much. And that's when I was like, I realized I never paid that much fucking attention to Lone Star's costume in the movie. Mel Brooks said, okay, we won't dress him like Han Solo. So they dressed him like Indiana Jones.
Really?
Take a look at Lone Star's costume in the fucking movie. Minus the hat, it's fucking Indiana Jones. The hat and the fucking messenger bag. Like I felt so goddamn stupid. I was like, how did I miss this? It's like I've never even seen a movie before. But yeah.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I digress. I'm just saying, like, there's lots of opportunity here for Marvel to course correct. They just need to slow it down and let things have room to breathe. Give the audience room to breathe and say, like, hey, listen, if you like this, we think you should go check it out. But if you don't, that's fine. We're still working towards a big deal movie that you can see without all the elements of this. You'll pick it up from the fact that we're using good storytelling and crafting. Let's do that again.
So, based on, since this has overall so far been about just decisions that are potentially poorly made, based on Disney overseeing everything, what do you think about them trying to kind of force Iger into buying EA Studios? They've been discussing that the execs want them to buy EA Studios, and I just think that would be horrifying. Because
so hold on, I apologize. Who's buying EA Studios? Is this Disney?
The executives at Disney are trying to force the CEO or whatever, Bob, isn't it Bob Iger? Yeah, to buy EA. And I think it's because since they didn't publish their own games, and now they have most of their games except for the ones that are on Sony are being run by EA. They want to buy the whole studio, which to me makes no sense because they make video games and EA is huge.
So Star Wars, Star Wars in general, not Disney. They had Lucas Arts, which was their game company. I would think that they probably want to do that because EA's fucked up the Star Wars IP so much, And did EA also do the Avengers game?
Yeah, but let me see what
maybe
they have here in Forbes. There, Square, they did the Marvel Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy with Square Enix. But the thing about EA though is that, I mean, if they want to buy something for their own games or just try to buy them out or buy one section of it that covers that kind of stuff, that would make sense. But EA runs like The Sims and all of these other things that are, what Marvel and Disney's interest in is so small of a niche of their huge business. I just don't understand it's going to tank something huge if they buy it, is what I think. And it's going to be a whole lot of different gaming platforms that are going to be lost rather than just what Disney wants to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that really concerns Disney that much. I said literally the same thing about the entire film industry when they were looking to acquire 20th Century Fox. And all these fucking nerds out here were like, yes, we finally have X-Men and the Fantastic Four back with Marvel Studios. And I'm like, yeah. And also an entire movie studios library has now gone to Disney, thus reducing the number of major studios in the entire industry, which means we're going to see a lot more stuff that's pretty boring and interchangeable and bland. But yeah, let's be happy that Wolverine will finally be in a fucking movie with Captain America. That's juice worth the squeeze. And not for nothing, the stuff that we're seeing all together in movie theaters has been happening since what? Disney purchased 20th Century Fox. If you have just like a couple of big studios cranking out all this stuff and nothing that's smaller and character driven in between, when the focus becomes everything being a blockbuster, pretty soon there's no more block left to bust. And that's why studios are taking the exact wrong fucking lesson from the success of Barbie, which is a fucking phenomenal movie.
I've yet to watch it. Everybody keeps telling me.
It's so good.
It's so good, dude. It really is. And I love it. I wore my I got a t-shirt. It's the baby blue and with the white and pink like Barbie font, and it says, "You ever think about dying?" Which is a line from the movie that Barbie says that sets her on her path towards personhood, essentially. and I wore that with one of my crazy pink colored Roosevelt shirts, much like the Trapper Keeper shirt I'm wearing right now.
Very nice.
And I wore it when Dara and I met Robert England and Heather Langenkamp a couple weeks ago at TerraCon in Marlborough, Massachusetts. And before we went over, I was like, yeah, I have like my Freddy Krueger sweater, and I have my Roosevelt's long sleeve Freddy Krueger button down. And at the last minute, I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm not gonna go wear this because I feel like everybody's gonna be wearing some kind of Freddy Krueger related thing for their like photos with these cats. And sure enough, we get there. Not only are there people all decked out in the same kind of shit, there was another guy who was wearing the same exact long sleeve Roosevelt shirt that I brought. Nobody, though, had anything like what I was wearing. And I got stopped a number of times by people asking me where I got that t-shirt. And when we walked in to take the photograph with Heather Langenkamp and Robert England, she literally grabbed my outer shirt and opened it up. And she goes, "Oh my God, do you think about dying?" And I was like, "Only when I'm awake." And she's like, and but like it was a much more fun and genuine reaction than if I was just some other fat asshole showing up like, I like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yeah, we know. That's why you're here. We got it. Thanks, Brandon. Smile for the photo. Sweet dreams. And then, walk away. No. It was a very, very cool interaction. But regardless, I'm sorry. Continue.
Anybody remember where we were?
We were talking about EA and
EA Sports.
Yeah, if everything's owned by the same people, it's just going to end up being the same. Differentiation is the key to success, and motivation to outdo somebody else. Competition is healthy, and Disney keeps forgetting that fucking rule of business. So whatever, it's going to be fun when they fucking implode. That's not a go woke, go broke statement, by the way.
No.
Stupid and absolutely asinine. That's just, hey, listen, if you go creatively broke, then you will go financially broke. That's how that goes.
Something should be done about EA though, because they've been, having quite a bit of issues so far. Not so far, but recently, like with the different Star Wars games. I heard the last one was pretty good though. But there's been, like, I keep on seeing these stories about like the latest version of FIFA. They found like, content from like 2 FIFAs ago or something like that in the game. So essentially they're taking like FIFA.
You mean the soccer game, the football?
Yeah.
FIFA. Yeah, you say that, and all I can think of it. I just have Eminem from 8 Mile in my head when you say, "No, Mackay FIFA, this is my life." That's all.
I'd like to hang out in your head for a day.
Oh yeah, come on in. Welcome to the Terror Dome.
Just a day. Just be like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here. What's going on?"
Yeah, at the end of the day, how you doing, Jeremy?
Help!
I need water and a hug. Water and a hug. In that order. I don't fucking care.
I know we talked about keeping tonight for an hour, so we'll wrap it up shortly.
I took a nap, so just fucking talk.
Yeah, they have the different EA studios, and maybe they just need to let some of them have more autonomy away from buy out.
Well, I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that would help because EA's been more like microtransaction driven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they just released The Sims 5, or getting ready to, and that's going to be for free, but with, eventually there will be the microtransactions going on with that to get some of the custom content and stuff. But, I mean, they just have such a variety of stuff you can't overtake if you don't. That's my thing with Disney overtaking it is they don't make games. And
they do though.
No,
they do. They do.
Oh,
they just actually made a very successful and fun game through Disney Electric content, Illusion Island.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Metroidvania style game.
Oh,
Yeah, that looks really good.
I
And
have
don't.
it, and I played through it once, and I'm playing it again now
Oh,
because
nice.
I want
Okay.
because I have ADHD and need to get 100%. But
Well, yeah.
I missed the goddamn hidden Mickey at one point, and the whole screen shifted, and I can't get to it. So I had to fucking erase my entire file. It's a thing, all right. But regardless of that, if you've ever played Metroid or Castlevania, you know, with you hit pause and you see the map and how
yeah.
it fills out as you walk, and then eventually you get a piece of the map and you see all the places you were but didn't get into, and you got to figure out maybe like, oh, what do I need to get into this area now? How do I get there? Full on. And it's very creatively done too, while keeping in mind that your characters that you're playing as are either Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, or Donald. And your controls, you don't actually injure anybody. You don't hurt things to stop them in this game. It's all offensive. I'm sorry, no, defensive. You have to jump over obstacles, and you have to swing from things in order to make things fall down on like the bosses. You don't ever directly cause violence towards anyone or thing. And like that's an interesting creative mandate, because these are wholesome Disney characters. You do not want to showcase them hurting anybody else, even if they're the bad guy. And I am a 41-year-old man, and I have had so much fun playing this game. It is most certainly a game that can be played by both adults and children. It's done in a more modern style for those characters, like a sort of a kitschy throwback style. If you take a look at it, you'll see what I mean. But it's a really good game, and that was published by Disney Electronic Content. So if they're able to push that out, I don't see why they would need to focus on buying another company. Seems to me like they're trying to shore up their ability to make anything, and this was they knocked it out of the park. So if they're able to get the right creative teams working on things, and they are able to keep the rights themselves to creating these video games that are, if not continuations, at least concurrently taking place with the storylines that everybody is already familiar with, then I feel like there's more power for them to do that than spend even more money, which they're hurting in regards to that, you know, in a manner of speaking. I don't foresee them spending another couple of $1 billion to. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I hope I get a sandwich.
Well, Disney's had a history of making some really good games based off of their IPs. You know, just thinking back to, you know, Genesis and Nintendo, like Aladdin and Lion King.
DuckTales, the game was dope.
Oh, dude.
DuckTales.
But even more recently than that, but before this, Epic Mickey.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good game, you know, like, but even using these characters right here, not going with like, you know, movie like animated characters like Lion King or Aladdin or anything like that. You know, you've had numerous Mickey Mouse games, Castle of Illusion, and
that was a good one. Yeah,
that's why this game is called Illusion Island. It's all, you know, alluding to those same style of games. But I had an absolute blast playing this. You just gotta like solve the puzzles. That's one of the bosses right there. You gotta solve the puzzles, and yeah, see, that's how you gotta hit like little things to make them. You gotta earn abilities as you go through. Like
was Goofy wearing a shark suit?
Yeah, probably. You see, the thing is, you can only play as one character at a time. Like you can have 4 people play all together, but if you're just one player, you choose which character you're going to play as at the beginning of each session, from like even where you saved. So once you've saved it, you shut it off, you go back the next day. If I played as Mickey yesterday, I want to play as Goofy today, you choose Goofy as your character, and just continue on from your load, you know, your last save point. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. And you know, I got a big kick out of some of the jokes in it. You know, it definitely like sophomoric / little too smart for some of the little kids watching it, but adults will be like, oh geez, all right. You know, not raunchy or anything, but like the magic words that they have to say in order to stop like each boss, like once they defeat them, like to turn them into stone so they don't hurt anybody again, is TEEBEEDEE.
TBD.
TBD.
To be announced.
To be
Oh,
determined.
determined.
Yeah. But, like, they have to go TBD, TBD, TBD. And like, did you just keep the space filler on the script? I can dig it. Like you made it cutesy. And like one point, like there's a whole mail system that gets stopped that you need to like restart. And the guy who like runs the railway system forward, he's like, this thing is so backed up, even prune juice couldn't get it going again. And they're like, what? And he's like, no, I mean, it's fine. You're doing a great job. And I'm like, there is not a fucking 7-year-old alive that would understand that joke. And it's so quickly and subtly done. I think I missed it the first time I played the game. And I was like, are you fucking serious? It's cute. Like, I really, really liked it. And if it's any indication, then, you know, Disney's got a good working relationship with some of the right people so far. I'd be interested to see their approach to their own other properties that aren't directly Disney, like kid related, like Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, all that, you know, Chip and Dale, whatever. Like, show if they want to start doing Star Wars and Marvel stuff, let's give them a chance. I think that there's a greater likelihood of them doing it in-house with stuff that they're already trying to establish than after having spent billions of dollars on Fox, billions of dollars on Lucasfilm, and billions of dollars on Marvel Studios. Oh yeah, Disney Speedsters came out not too long. I don't know. Let me look it up. Who made Disney Speedsters? Show me Disney Speedsters on the board. Disney. Oh yeah, they also made another one, Dreamlight Valley or something like that. Is it Speedsters or Speedstorm?
No idea.
I think it's Speedstorm.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I think if they are making successful ones, now you told me about that, it still would make more sense for them to just make their own little studio instead of taking over a bunch of other properties that they don't have an interest in, or that definitely aren't Disney related.
They should just bring back LucasArts, you know, and just revive that.
Like, what happened to that, by the way? Because I remember my ex played Old Republic and stuff, and that was all.
Yeah, I think they just closed down. But LucasArts it wasn't only just like Star Wars games.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to jump in. Disney Speedsters, as well as their other new game, Disney Dreamlight Valley, were both published by Gameloft. So just putting that out there. Gameloft is the publisher on that, not Disney Electronic Gaming. But you know, anyway. As you were saying, Leo, I apologize.
So LucasArts, LucasArts closed at 2013. They said it was rebranded as Lucasfilm Games, but LucasArts, they used to do like point and click games like Dig. There was a really cool Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and then they made Star Wars games as well. I think they made like TIE Fighter and X-Wing and
TIE Fighter, Sox Shooter, you know, all the fun ones.
I wonder, did they do Grim Fandango?
Say it again.
Grim Fandango.
Fandango.
Is that skeleton one?
Yeah.
There? Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about, but I do not know if they...
Oh, yeah, it was LucasArts. Yeah, Grim Fandango. That was another good one, too.
Whatever. It was all downhill after Super Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I liked all those. Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
They were good.
Those the Super Star Wars Empire and Return of the Jedi. Those were really good, really fun. That's the thing. I have a problem with some of these things, like especially like the Star Wars games. As you were saying earlier, Leo, like, oh, they fucked up the continuity. It's like, oh, the best way to not fuck up the continuity is stop making video games that are trying to continue the story outside of the fucking movies.
Well, I didn't say they fucked up continuity. The gameplay was messed up.
No, I'm pretty sure earlier you said they fucked up the continuity. EA fucked up the continuity. I'm pretty sure you did. I'm totally gonna rewatch this later.
Rewatch it. If I said it, I didn't mean it like that. But the games.
Oh, so you meant it, but you meant to say completely different words to describe the thing that you mean. That's not confusing.
I don't think I said. Please rewatch it.
I will.
And let me. Oh, I know you will. But no, they fucked up the Star Wars games. The games themselves. They I think they added like microtransactions and actually I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah. They just weren't that good.
So really they fucked up the accessibility. That might be the word that you meant instead of continuity, which you definitely said earlier in the episode.
Okay, rewind it. And
yeah, I'll rewind reality right now. Sit tight, everybody.
Yeah,
we're going back to the way back machine.
Holy shit, they've gone to plaid.
Right now.
This is heavy. There's that word again.
So, any of you watched Gen V yet?
Yes,
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Caught me off guard in the very first episode. The child going through puberty was like, holy shit. That would fuck up any child, I think.
So Carrie,
hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I didn't hear what you said, Carrie.
So Carrie, Gen V is a offshoot of The Boys.
Okay.
Or spin-off, even, which is the term that most people would use.
Yeah, spin-off.
It's a variant.
I believe Drew said that Gen V was actually a group within the storyline of The Boys.
Gen V is not a group within the storyline of The Boys. The G-Men is a group.
Okay.
Because they are essentially like a fraternity on Godolphin University. Wee Huey, aka Huey, as we know him as played by Jack Quaid in the television series on Amazon Prime. In the comic book by Garth Ennis, he is a small Scottish man who bears a striking resemblance to Simon Pegg, which is why Simon Pegg was cast as Huey's dad in the live action show. But he is supposed to be Scottish, and his name is Wee Huey. That's a fairly common thing. Huey, through and through. My dad's name was Hugh, and Hugh is a very common name in Ireland and Scotland. And not only that, they like a lot of Irish families, like my dad's side of the family, they just use the same fucking names for everybody through every goddamn generation. I can't tell you the number of Marys, Johns, Graces, Roberts, and Hughes there are. And like, that's all the names. That's, did I say Sarah? But yeah, Sadie, I think, is one that pops up quite a bit too. My dad was baby Huey growing up because his uncle, my granduncle, his mom's brother, was Uncle Huey. And then my dad was born, and he was baby Huey, and he became Babe from that. Because especially at the time, like baby Huey was like this comedic thing, and like who fucking wanted that? And then my Uncle Huey had a son that he named Huey, and he became Little Huey. And then Little Huey had a son who he named Huey the Third, who became Little Baby Huey. My dad wanted to name me Hugh Jr. And my mother, one of the few kind things she did for me in my life was say, abso-fucking-lutely not, and made me Brandon instead. Thank you for that. But in the comic, Huey, he's a smaller guy. He looks a little bit younger, so he's able to like fit in more with this like younger crowd. They have him go undercover with this G-Men, like it's sort of like the New Mutants in their world. You know, they're sort of like waiting to get called up to the big leagues, and they're in training, but they're all a bunch of fuckheads and fuckwits as it is. Gobshites, as they might say in Ireland, just a bunch of shit talking fuckheads. And it gets to the point where Huey spends so much time around them that he's like, I don't know, they're all not so bad, Butcher. You may not have to kill every last one of them. And Butcher's like, no, I'm gonna kill every last one of them. That's would you miss the mission statement on this? Like, fuck them all. That's like literally the guidebook is just that, just those 3 words, fuck them all, you know? And, you know, there's just like, there's something to it, and especially like with the comic world as it's approached in the storyline, the graphic novel that contains, the volume graphic novel that contains the story involving them. The cover of it looks just like one of the covers of Animal House, with like the drawing, like the sort of like cracked Mad Magazine-esque drawing of the fraternity house and everybody like hanging out the windows and in the yard just drinking, wearing togas and shit. But you know, there's some of that comic book reference stuff that the allegories that are lost with this satirical route they've taken with the show, which is fine because the show handles satire very well. And it's really commenting on what we see popularized through like movies and television, which makes sense because that's the medium the story's being told in. But the one thing I'm really just kind of sad about that they had the chance to comment on, which they've done a little bit with Soldier Boy and the Homelander, but they might touch upon it now with the way have we all seen The Boys here?
Yes.
Have we all?
I
Carrie, have you
didn't.
seen The Boys?
I started watching it. It wasn't my thing.
Okay. I mean, I get it. It is ultra violent, and that does follow the comic book through and through as well.
I might enjoy it more if I'm not watching it with my mother.
Oh yeah, that would
Yeah.
definitely throw a wet blanket on the party
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
some
Yeah,
scenes I wouldn't want to be sitting with my mom while I'm
Yes,
watching.
especially Gen V. The latest episode 4.
Tell me this is the biggest stick you've ever seen.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
relatively, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's not the same scene, buddy. Not even.
No.
Yeah. But the thing is, this isn't giving anything away, but in the comic book, the Boys as an organization, they are like a deep black ops organization working totally off the books for the government through an intermediary named Mallory. And Mallory is in the comic books is a guy, in the show played by a woman. Not a problem. There's no need for it to be a dude, straight up. Like didn't bother me. It shouldn't bother anybody. I'm sure it probably bothered somebody. Fucking guys somewhere that have 15 different internet handles apiece, and fucking live in a basement, subsisting primarily on Mountain Dew and fucking ho-hos. But the thing is,
nobody likes ho-hos.
These fuckers do. That's what makes them evil. Yeah, I like ho-hos. Ring dings though can get fucked. Ring dings are, but it's devil dogs.
Devil dogs now.
Why don't you just put fucking cream filling in between styrofoam, you fuckheads? But regardless of that, I think the one thing that I don't know that this is anybody else's takeaway, but if you've read the comic, what happens in the comic that they don't do in the show is if you join the Boys, this small organization, you are given a dose of a very particular formula of compound V, the chemical that gives these variegated superpowers. But for the Boys, what they get is like increased strength and durability, like high endurance, but they can still be hurt and killed. And it would take a lot to like really put them out of commission, but they can be shot and fucking killed, stuff like that. Whereas like Compound V, as it exists through the Vought American Corporation, it is like wildly strong and has a different effect on different people. Sometimes beneficial, oftentimes horrible. And there are some people who their parents were exposed to runoff or worked for Vought, and they either accidentally were exposed or they were exposed without their knowledge, and Vought was performing like sort of like public experiment on the regular populace, and their offspring would develop powers, but a lot of them would be like powers of a crippling nature. Like Mother's Milk in the comic book series is a completely different entity power wise than he is in the show. In the show, he is just one of the boys. That's that. In the comic book, he's not someone that had that altered shot of Compound V to join the boys. He was born with his abilities, but there's a caveat to it, which is why he's named what he is, Mother's Milk. Same thing with the female of the species. She is well, I don't want to say she's born with her abilities, but as an infant, she was like literally dropped into a fucking bucket of Compound V, and she is like the Wolverine of the boys. And in the show, the female of the species is the only one that has any sort of Compound V related abilities. There's a whole storyline that explains in the comics that Mallory, who eventually formed the boys in order to take out all the Supes because they're just running rampant and an absolute fucking menace to all of civilization, never mind just society. He got it all set up so that this Compound V was able to just enhance people to that point, and that's that. And he made sure that the scientists they got working on it fucking jumped up the numbers on everything so much that a single shot of it cost like $6 billion. So that way the American government would never try to mass produce it. The thing that always amused me, because of all the comic book analogs that they use in the comic book series, The Boys, that I never see anybody talking about, is that what Mallory created that the boys take is the super soldier serum. Their abilities in the comic book are those of Captain America. They have Olympic peak physical levels of strength, endurance, speed, dexterity, but they can still be hurt. They can still be killed if it comes down to it. They can be stabbed through the chest. They can be shot in the head. And that's what they wanted. He wanted, if anybody was given this, it's somebody that they could still stop themselves. That's Captain America. The only thing that prevents a super soldier program, though, is the fact that Mallory had the numbers tweaked so that the government would never in a million years produce more than like 10 shots of it. And like I was kind of hoping they would get to something along those lines with involving Soldier Boy in the past season. And so far, like nothing. But with the shit that's going on with Butcher in the series and Huey to an extent by the end of this past season's finale, I would like to think that maybe they're gearing it towards that. Like it might be like sort of the methadone version of what they're going through, so their brains don't fry out, and it leaves them with like the ability to withstand, like sort of like, oh, we have to give them this because it's going to just stop their cells in their place now, and they're just going to maintain a certain level from that point forward. But the only way we could give it to someone was if they took that V to begin with. Like that's my hope, and I could be wrong, but I'm usually right. So but yeah, Carrie, I do recommend checking out The Boys on your own, not with moms, because yeah, that's a bit much.
That's weird.
But just
weird.
I would say watch what's there for The Boys currently, and then make your way to Gen V. It's only like the 4th or 5th episode coming out this Friday.
Fifth is coming out.
They dropped 3 episodes at once on the day it premiered. But so far it's really good. It had Patrick Schwarzenegger shows up in like the first episode, but then it really becomes a few other characters shows. One in particular. Did you watch The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
Oh yeah.
So
I watched all of that.
the really cute girl with glasses who was like losing her sight, the friend.
Yeah.
She's like the main character of Gen V. And the kid who played Sabrina's cousin.
She's Marie?
Yeah, Jazz Sinclair.
Oh wow. Okay. I knew she would look familiar. I just couldn't place it.
You could have just asked me. I could have told you straight away. Or IMDb is a thing.
Yeah.
But and also the kid that played Sabrina's cousin.
Yeah, he's a hottie.
The British one. I didn't realize he wasn't British. It turns out he is from California. Yeah, he threw me for a loop. He is also one of the 3 like main characters of the show as well, which I was like, oh, that's really cool because they already worked together on another project, and already Gen V is 1.5 trillion times better than The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina could ever fucking hope to be. And I say that as someone who had high hopes for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
I told you why I watched all of it, and it was because of Clive Barker's paintings being in it. And I'm a completionist. I had to, once I started watching
I try to be a completionist, but if something sucks out loud, then I'm like, yeah, this seems complete enough for me, and I'll just stop. I love Archie comics. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have always liked Archie comics, and I enjoyed the Sabrina stuff that came out years ago. Like the thing that tickled me the most was seeing like the decorated cookies with like the gingerbread style like Halloween house that the fucking witch headmistress had in her apartment, because they made Zelda and Hilda look exactly like the comic book counterparts in the cookies, like the green and red. I was like, that's clever. And then I got sad because I'm like, oh, I'm one of 7 people across the country that got that reference, I think. But the thing that really pissed me off was like between that and Riverdale. I'm a fan of Archie. I'm a fan of Sabrina. I grew up reading those. I also love Twin Peaks, and I love horror. And when Riverdale started off, it seemed like it was like, oh, this is like Archie by way of David Lynch. And then they were like, yeah, it is. Oh wait, we just remembered we're on CW, so no. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, that's on me, I forgot that too, fuck you. And I stopped watching halfway through the season. I'm like, okay, there's so many like teenage style hormones flying around that I feel like I can smell Clearasil, and I think I have 3 pimples on my fucking cheek now too. I'm good. Like the hormones were flying left and right, and it was coming through the television airwaves. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You go after the horny teenagers. I'm gonna jog on and find something for me. And then I read the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Archie horror series, and it was phenomenally done. It ended like on a cliffhanger, seemingly looking towards like, oh, there's going to be a continuation, like sort of a series 2 from this point on. It was so dark. The artwork is so like fantastically phantasmagorical, and the person who wrote it was Roberto. I can never remember his full last name, but the guy who did the show, who ran the show Riverdale and ran the show Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. He got the deal to do Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, and then just stopped writing the fucking comic book and just left it where it was. The same exact thing happened with Afterlife with Archie. He got Riverdale and he stopped working on that. And the worst part about it is both of those comic series are far superior to either one of those shows. Like
Roberto
if you read
Sacasa?
Yes. Oh, hold on. Roberto, what is it?
Aguirre Sacasa?
Yeah. That's him. And he did such a great job writing those. There's Afterlife with Archie is great because it's basically zombie apocalypse in the world of Archie that is caused by Jughead and Sabrina.
I'm glad you're telling this because I just grabbed that because it's on my bookmark list of things to
Oh my god!
go into reading. So
wait till
approved. Okay.
Afterlife with Archie. There's one episode towards the end. Issue towards the end that involves another group that you were familiar with from cartoons and comic books. They're a band.
Meow.
Mm-hmm. But they have a fucking terrifying origin story in Afterlife with Archie. It is not the thing that you would think whilst diving into like Afterlife with Archie. I think it was number 9 or 10. I read it. Now, I mean, as soon as I saw the cover, I was like, I'm fucking in. It was pretty dope. Let me see here. I'm gonna pull up the who's what's it real quick. This screen, share screen. Oh my god, how many fucking times do I have to click share screen? This is stupid. Here you go. That is the cover to number 10 of Afterlife with Archie, and I was like, all right, bring it on, motherfucker. So yeah, that one's really good, and but it kind of just stops. It peters out, and then Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the comic book. Holy shit! Like the fucking all that camp shit that goes on in the Netflix series. No, this is a fucking horror series. I don't know what happened between that comic book series and Netflix making the television show, but they are two completely different things. And Carrie, I'm telling you, if you read the comic, you are going to be wondering the same thing. Like, how did you get away from what this was? Like, it is so fucking dark and fucked up in the comic book that it makes the television show on Netflix look even more like a fucking a middling episode of Dark Shadows.
It got so cheesy when I was doing we're going to do the upside down sign of the cross 15 times this episode to make sure they realize that's what it is we're doing. And we're going to do this. Yet at the same time on the Christmas episode, they sang Christmas carols involving people from the Bible, and it was okay. But
yeah,
sorry,
listen, honestly, like my brain did the Windows fucking sign off shit. Once I heard them say the word delicious for the 15th time in the second episode, I'm like, oh, are her gifts delicious? Are they delicious gifts? Is Satan going to give her gifts that may be delicious? All right, I'm fucking done. They make these fucking abilities sound like a Little Debbie snack cake one more fucking time. And sure enough, there was what's her name? Miranda, what's her face from one of the Lord of the Rings things, the redheaded one, and she was like, "Your delicious gifts." I'm like, and done. Okay, I'm outie. I'm outie 5,000. This is stupid. But yeah, so if you especially because it's spooky season, if you enjoy either the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, or some of the Archie stuff that they were kind of hinting at with Riverdale towards the end, because they were kind of making people think that Afterlife with Archie was going to be a thing, and there was a hope for a while that the show was going to like evolve into that. I highly recommend hunting down both of the comic books. They were not around long enough to merit more than like one volume each, so you don't have to go far to get everything collected in for each one in one book a piece. So yeah, check them out. Check them out. Holy flirkin' shit. Especially, I'm telling you, you get to issue 10 of Afterlife with Archie. Oh, I'm so mad that I don't get more of that.
I'm looking for something new to read, so I'm going to definitely try out Afterlife.
Maybe
I mean, they have other ones too, like Vampironica.
Really?
Oh yeah. Jughead the Hunger.
Well, the Hunger actually I recommended for our Halloween read this year.
Yeah, but yeah, Vampironica is Veronica, and she gets turned into a vampire, and yeah, it's all like fun, but it's definitely like a bloody fun time in the world of Archie. You know, like, oh well, I finally see somebody rip the throat out of Mr. Witherby. Only time will tell. That fucking officious prick. But yeah, good times.
Awesome. Yeah, I will check it out because I suffered through the show, so I should get a reward for that.
Yeah, you should.
Absolutely.
But for bloody good times, those are really good. Same, and then you can go ahead and check out The Boys and jump right into Gen V. I think the company you keep whilst watching certain things like that definitely dictates how you feel and perceive feel about and perceive those projects. I think maybe just on your lonesome or with more appropriate viewing company, you'll watch The Boys and really enjoy it. And the thing is, like, they're like about 45-minute long episodes, but there's not a whole lot of them per season. And I honestly think that you are going to, I think once given the chance and maybe with a fresher perspective on The Boys, you'll watch it and appreciate it for the satire it is. Okay. Anthony Starr, who plays essentially the villain of the series, Homelander, he is magnificently evil. Like, they, in every single time it seems like they're steering it towards sympathy for him as a villain, they boomerang it right back around like, oh no, this is not a character you should have sympathy for. Yeah, it may suck like some of the things that he was raised in, but he is still a fucking psychopath who has no regard for anybody else but himself. So like, it's good. And the worst part about it is, like, because you haven't watched the show, you've missed some of the funniest moments in reality where people like, Homelander's the shit, and people including the creator of the show is like, wow, you're a fucking idiot and you've completely missed the point of the show. Do you understand? You're the bad people in this, right? You are not the good guys. You're the bad guys. And all those people are like, what? No, he's what? And like, yeah, he's like right-wing conservatism given superpowers. That's
pretty much
that's a dystopian nightmare waiting in the wings. But yeah, you keep rooting for the bad guy, fuckface. Just see how that works out in the story, because a lot of people, check it out. I'd be curious to see what your commentary is once you get through it. You'd be like, oh, there's some great choices made, and hats off to Eric Kripke, who is the showrunner. He created Supernatural on WB and the CW, and as well as Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, because their names, though the two of them, their names attached to the project from the start, gave me a lot of pause.
Yeah,
because
I was worried after Preacher.
That's exactly what made me hesitant, because they changed so much of Preacher from what it should have been. And that was also a Garth Ennis project. And then when I started watching The Boys from the start, like, there was stuff happening that was way different than the comic book. And I was like, I felt like Indiana Jones. I'm like, not Indiana Jones, Han Solo. I got a bad feeling about this kid. And also, that's no Moon. But Eric Kripke made some really smart moves, and he was like, yeah, no, I understand the essence of what it was Garth Ennis was doing. I think he combined a couple of ideas, and I really appreciate what he's done. He kind of took exactly what Garth Ennis was doing story-wise, thematically, in the comic book series, and believe it or not, of all fucking people, he took the idea of like Zack Snyder's approach to Ozymandias from Watchmen. And I don't think that that's like the greatest cinematic feat of all time, Zack Snyder's Watchmen there. I'm just citing that particular aspect. I think a lot of people miss out on the fact that Ozymandias was supposed to be sort of a ridiculous pumping up of what a superhero was perceived to be even in that world. You ever pay attention to Ozymandias' costume in the movie Watchmen by Zack Snyder?
No.
It's molded like rubber.
Yep.
Just like Batman's suit. Do you know what his costume, his action suit, Ozymandias has?
No.
Nipples.
Oh, great. Now I got to go back and look.
The second I saw it in the movie theater, my fucking ADHD hyperfocus superpowers kicked in, and I was like, oh my God, this is a reference to Joel Schumacher. This is incredible. And it's supposed to show like you're trying to show a heightened reality, but sometimes that comes off as fucking ridiculous. That's the idea behind the visual representation in this medium of the boys combined with the themes of Garth Ennis's approach in his initial story. I've thought about this a little bit, just to say. But I can't stress, as somebody who started off ready to hate the television series on Amazon Prime because I really enjoyed the approach in the comic book, I think that the television series as showrun by Eric Kripke is being brilliantly executed. The satire is palpable. He understands how to do it. The pastiches and analogs are right there. There should be no question. One of the best things about it, and this is not like a spoiler, there's very few things that are done with comic books in the show, but comic books are a part of the series. Once again, keeping the mediums matching. In the comic book series, the idea is that comic books were put out with all these different characters over the decades by a Stan Lee-esque character taking the reins, like writing a lot of these stories, quote, creating the storylines. And that's part of the reason why they're so adored by so many people. It's been mired in pop culture. In the show, Hollywood, it's movies. And not only are the movies being done, but the movies are starring the actual, quote, heroes themselves. So they're showcasing their powers and abilities for what the stories are. There's a big thing that's a play on like the Avengers and Justice League called the Dawn of the Seven, which the Seven is like, yeah, it's a bit meta,
like an Audie Murphy type of thing.
He
started himself,
kind of, but yeah, it's these trumped up like really big storylines that aren't anything like reality. You know, like them going up these against like gigantic alien foes or whatever. You know, like a Thanos type character. There's nobody that exists like that, even in that world.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just trumped up and made titillating, but it's full on as much, you know, Dawn of the Seven, like they take their jabs at DC, but they're not really like the juggernaut powerhouse that has made like this sort of monolithic, almost impenetrable mythology. That's Marvel, that's MCU, and they take a lot of jabs at the MCU, including Disney Plus. V Plus becomes a thing in the boys, like VOT Plus. It's hilarious. And that's the fun thing too, is like once you start getting into the boys, if you go to YouTube, you can find a bunch of fake commercials that they produced for the show that are about the different products that VOT American has made in that world. I think you're in for a fun time, honestly. Just you know, keep mom in the next room, wait till she goes to sleep or something. You're like,
we just like to try to find a new show when I'm over visiting at her place, and we were like, oh, let's give this one a try. I've heard good things, and we were like, oh wow, okay, we aren't gonna watch this one together. I'll watch that when I'm home. And then I just forgot to watch it.
You didn't even get to the worst shit that happens in it. By far. Nothing worse than the ability to grow large, cocaine, and sneezing.
Yep. Nothing that one scene would have thrown you and your mom for a loop.
Almost threw me for a loop, and I'm fucking desensitized. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad they
Shoot.
waited until like season 2 or season 3 for that shit, because if that had been season 1, I'd be like, I don't even know, man.
I'm out.
I might have to tap out of this one. I'll just read I'll just read what the synopsis is later. But yeah, it's definitely Gen V is a fun approach. I've seen some people recently say they thought that it was going to be like CW'd, which I don't understand.
Why?
Just because there were young people in it. I don't know. You'd have to ask them, Jeremy. You know exactly the person who actually said it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they said like, oh, I was really worried they were going to CW this, and I was like, why would they? I mean, how do you make a spinoff of The Boys, but then
That would be weird.
Yeah, that would be terrible. I would fully anticipate that it would be just as like rough, and I don't mean rough like hard to watch. I mean like just hard hitting, pull no punches, and like uber violent as The Boys. And so far, that has been exactly the case. I'm just like I feel like it's just like because there were young people in it, because I think that the people behind all of this are better than that, and so far they have proven that to be exactly the case. There's definitely a mystery going on, which I appreciate, because they're trying to figure out why the fuck this is and what the end game for it is.
I find it hilarious they made a Scooby-Doo reference in the latest episode.
Well, I mean, they're fucking several young people,
Teenagers,
like 18, 19-year-olds trying to solve a mystery. It's not a stretch.
What?
Like, yeah, I mean, I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well.
Yeah.
You know, when they started calling themselves the Scoobies, I'm like, oh, you're so clever, I guess. Which is like, I mean, I enjoy Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that's another fun spooky season watch through if you feel so inclined. I do feel like there are some things that don't age particularly well with it, and stuff. I'm actually kind of glad to see that there are a lot of people who are finally on my page when it comes to Willow's representation in that show, because it was I understand, like, and I understood this at the time. It was great for LGBTQ, like, gay representation through and through, to have Willow become a lesbian. But in the long run, and this was my big thing, like, I always felt like initially they weren't gearing it towards her being a lesbian. I think they were trying to gear it towards her just being someone who loved whomever they were based on who they were as a person, not what they were. And they sort of pigeonholed themselves. And there were a lot of people who argued with me over that, especially like, because I know I'm a straight white guy, so my opinion doesn't really hold a lot of water, and that's understandable, but just from a storytelling standpoint, a character standpoint is what I mean, not just representation. I always got the impression that she would have been more pansexual than anything else.
Yeah.
It was hard to believe that she, like, because at one point Willow, like, straight up definitely, like,
Could you imagine the minds blown by the word pansexual back in that time?
Oh yeah, but I don't think they would have even been able to, like, wrap, like, the dialogue around the word pansexual. Like, I don't think it would have. I think it would have been explained as a concept, but it wouldn't have been pansexual the way that they said it in the show. It could have just very simply have been her describing, like, how she felt, like, exactly what I said. Like, it's not really like what is going on all here. It's what's here, what's going on here and here. Like, that would be a very Willow way to explain it, to be perfectly honest. Like, very chipper and wordy. What's that?
I said it's been quite a while since I watched it, but she was initially with Seth Green as a
yeah,
werewolf,
and that's
right?
that's
So
what I was
why
going to say.
like you're saying,
that was a real relationship too. She loved, oh my god, I can't. What the fuck was his name now? I just had Ozzy. She loved Ozzy, and they were really, like, into each other, and and not in a gross way. It was visceral, you know, and she loved Xander. Like she had the biggest crush on him for a while. It wasn't just like oh, I think we'd be best friends, like the way that Rosie O'Donnell like had a crush on Tom Cruise. Like she always thought he was cute, but like not sexual or anything. Like no, Willow genuinely loved Ozzy and Ozzy loved her. They were in a real relationship, and Ozzy, as someone who loved her, did exactly what someone who loves another person would do when they say something like what she did, like when she broke up with him. And, it was like, okay, I just want you to be happy, and if you feel like that can't be with me, that sucks for me, but it's a little bit better altogether knowing that you'll be okay. Like I think you being okay will make me okay, and we'll move on from this, and thank you for being in my life, and I hope I made yours better. But absolutely, Leo. But the thing is, it gets to a point where Willow starts dating Tara, who it's such bullshit that Tara was killed the way she was. It's like a whole, oh, there's a gay person, make sure we kill him. Like bury all your gay folk, you know. All right, that's cool. But it actually gets to a point where Willow's like, oh, I couldn't even date a man. It's like, no thanks. Like it gets to a point where Willow actually like says something right along those lines, and I was like, that's not at all who you are as a person. Like just experience and what we've seen on the show. And I do think that like moving forward, especially with the comic book series, they were actually able to progress the character to what I think they really wanted to do in the show from the start, where I believe she starts dating like somebody from another dimension who's like not even human. And I don't even think that like male and female genitalia like really comes into play with the interdimensional beings like existence, and it really is about like who they are as a person, which I think speaks to who Willow is as a person altogether. But they also did it really dirty on how, you know, they had a chance for a wider spectrum of representation for her, even if they didn't want to make her like pansexual, bisexual, because like there's a stamping out of that for a lot of folks out there, and there's a lot of kids who were trying to figure out that shit when they were watching the show, which I wasn't even aware of, you know, at the time. Like that never occurred to me as a straight white guy. But, you know, upon rewatches and introducing my wife to the show over the past several years as adults, you know, checking it out, I'm like, whoa, there was like a real missed opportunity here. And that's because nobody was having those wider conversations. And it was a very binary thing. It was like this or that, straight or gay, male or female. That's, you know, that's that. We're understanding there's a wider spectrum and fluidity for a lot of those things. So some of this stuff is just like, you know, doesn't age quite well, but the themes are right there. And if you're willing to take it a step further on some of the stuff that goes past and continues the story and doesn't sensationalize for the sake of sensationalization, you get to see the actual development that could have taken place were it not for stupid things like people latching on to one thing and that's all it should be. So, you know, and that's something that lines right up with what we're saying about Sabrina, The Boys, and now this, and all fun October spooky season type shit. Lots of violence and creepy crap that can you know, make you sit up late at night going, why did I even fucking bother watching that? I'm not gonna sleep now. So you're welcome.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know me, just head on over to thedorkening.com. You can find, you know, there's a lot of awesome people doing a lot of awesome stuff. Yeah, you know, what
awesome things, kids, awesome things. Yeah.
What are you saying, Leo?
I don't know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is go check these awesome people out, like Jar Jar.
Hey, come check out me. This Sunday we're dropping the second episode of the Re-Education of Nancy Ann Ritter. That'll be fantastic. Check that out. If you want to hang out with me sometime, check out me on Facebook, Jeremy Courtney, and other than that, just keep watching all the shows that are put out by the Dorkening. I'll show up eventually.
Awesome. Gary, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
She's making a mute point.
Sorry, I was talking to my mom. When I am not here with these gents or hanging out with my mother, you can find me over on Owlite Network as well. I do shows there on Sundays and sometimes Mondays and occasionally Thursdays. We do a lot of storytelling type of shows, but I'm here often on the Geeks and with Splash Pages. And if you want to find me, go to Carrie Sanders on YouTube, on Jesus Christ, on Facebook. And if you see a crow as the avatar, that's me. All my links are there. I'm done talking for the night.
I was half listening. That was, if you're looking for Carrie, she'll be on Jesus Christ. What?
What?
Church is different now. Holy shit. Hey everyone, I'm Powerful Brandon. You can check me out here. Hopefully more often than I've been showing up the past couple of months. But other than that, I do a couple of podcasts with our good buddies, Mr. Leo Pond and Justin Cooper. The first of which is The Dork Night, which discusses and dissects all things Batman. Leo and Justin absolutely love Batman, and I absolutely love taking the wind out of their sails when it comes to Batman. It's more fun for me sometimes, I think, than them, but still good times and fun to be had by all. And also Comics Paradox, which it's the three of us still, and we talk about all kinds of alternate reality tales and takes, Elseworlds from DC, what ifs from Marvel, different storylines and story arcs from not just those two publishers, but others as well. We'll get to things like Age of Apocalypse for X-Men in Marvel, but also Star Wars Infinities, which is basically Dark Horse's version of a what if this happened in Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, or so on and so forth. There's a lot of fun checking those out. And aside from that, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can check me out at This Brandon Has Powers. Comics Paradox Podcast is there as well at Comics Paradox Podcast, COMIX Paradox Podcast. And if you want to check out the website, comicsparadox.com, as well as anywhere that podcasts are broadcast. It's a fun time to be had by all, man. So we hope you listen and enjoy.
Awesome. With that, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.